Good evening, everyone. Come on in and join us. For those of you who might be watching this on the replay, thank you so very much for coming in and checking this out. And I also want to give a big thank you to Krista for having me here tonight, as well as for everyone else that's here. So I so appreciate you guys coming in. For those of you who are popping on now, make sure you say hello. Let me know that you're here. I'm going to try really hard to not get too distracted by the comments and by all the hearts and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to try really hard not to do that, okay? Hey, Tatrice, good to see you. Hello, Shannon and Kelly. Look, so many people popping in. I love this. All right, so y'all, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do my very best to not get too distracted because, y'all, quite honestly, Krista didn't tell me how much time I have tonight, and I don't want to hold you up too long. So I'm going to try to get through as much as I can in as short of time period as I can, because I don't want to hold y'all up on a holiday weekend, right? So thank you all so much for coming in. This is a little different for me because I am not used to having this many people popping on to my live streams. So love it, love it, love it. Listen, y'all just make me so happy. Can I just say that? Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so tonight we are going to talk a little bit about attitudes, okay? So here's one question that I have for you. So how many of you, by show of me and the comment stream, wish that you had more jewelry shows on your calendar? And maybe more jewelers in your downline? Maybe you wish you had a better relationship with your premier family? Whatever it is, okay? I want you to think about that. And if you can relate to any of those of wishing that you had more jewelry shows, wishing you had more jewelers in your downline, and wishing you had a better relationship with your Premier Designs family, would you put a me in the comment stream? That is just going to kind of give me a little bit of a heads up as far as, you know, who might be needing something. And it doesn't matter which one it is. You're welcome to say if you want, but you don't have to, okay? All right, so we are going to get right into this, all right? So here's something that we sometimes fail to think about, okay? We fail to think about, do you know how successful you are will be directly related to your attitude just as much as it is to your actions. Do y'all know that? Like, your attitude has just as much to do with how successful you are as the actions that you take to get successful. Okay. So here's the thing. You have to ask yourself where you are in terms of your attitude. When's the last time that you kind of gave yourself an attitude check, if you will? Okay. Now, some of you may have heard my attitude training before. If you follow me on Buffy's Toolbox group, you may have heard a lot of this. However, I will tell you, this is going to kind of be a training within a training, if you will. So even if you heard my attitude training before, you're going to want to stick around. You're going to want to listen because there is some new added things thrown in there. Okay. So the very first one, this is going to be an acronym, by the way. So we're going to basically spell out the word attitude, okay? So the very first one, of course, is A. So this particular A is going to stand for awareness, all right? So awareness is, ask yourself, would I want to work with me? Okay, so I want you to think about the kind of consultant that you are. I want you to think about the kind of premier mom that you are. I want you to think about the kind of person that you are overall. Okay, would you want to work with you if you were an outsider kind of looking in? All right, and you might be going, I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what that looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna hit on some things here, and y'all, here's the thing. If you have any ouch moments tonight, please understand that that is not the intention. However, if God lays some conviction on your heart, that is a good thing. Okay, that is a good thing. Even though it might hurt initially, and even though it might be kind of an ouch, and we want to like kind of, deflect that, don't. Okay, pull that in, and instead you're going to be able to use that then to harness it to change your behaviors and that kind of thing. Okay, so it is a good thing if you're feeling an ouch. So as I go over some of these things tonight, if you're feeling kind of like an ouch statement, like, ooh, that kind of hit home, go ahead and put ouch in the comment stream. It's okay. It's okay. All right. All right. So the very first one that we're going to look at under awareness is be flexible and easy to work with. Okay, so this is where we're going to kind of get into that training within a training, if you will. Okay, so be flexible and easy to work with. So you want to ask yourself, do you go out of your way to serve others, or do you make it difficult for them to work with you? All right, so again, maybe you're going, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of context to kind of put this in. All right, so think about when you are disappointed because a hostess has canceled on you yet again. Okay. Do you make it difficult for her to rebook with you? Do you make it difficult for her to kind of get a new date on the calendar? Are you looking at things and going, you know what? She's already done this to me twice. I don't even think I want to put her back on the books. Okay. Or things like that. So are you unintentionally, but maybe intentionally to a degree, making it difficult for that hostess to work with you again? Okay, so you want to really think about that. If y'all see me swatting, a fly got in my house and I can't get him out. All right. Okay, so the other thing I want you to think about in terms of being flexible and easy to work with. Think about when a customer is being less than pleasant to work with. Do you find yourself in your natural state wanting to kind of be like, well, if that's how you're going to be, then let me just tell you, I'm going to do this. Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Because, well, we're going to get to why in just a minute. Okay. Or how about this? How about when a fellow jeweler who's not in your downline, who's not in your Premier family anywhere, is seeking you for help? Do you make it difficult for them? Do you make it like, well, I mean, like, I'll give you a little bit, but like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on you because like, you're not even in my Premier family. Obviously, you would never say that to them to their face. I would hope not. Okay. But we shouldn't even be thinking along those lines. Premier is so much about keeping it personal and everything else. And there's another part I'm going to touch on here in a minute, but you never want to get in that mindset. Okay. You never want to get in that mindset. So you always want to make sure that when you are wanting to work with people, that you are being flexible and making yourself easy to work with. Make yourself easy for people to want to come to you and talk to you and ask you questions and be there for you. Okay. All right. All right. So number 2 under awareness is be reliable. Be reliable. So here's what being reliable means. Being reliable means do what you said you would do, when you said you would do it, even after the feeling you had when you said has passed. Okay? So do what you say you will do, when you say you will do it, even after the feeling in which you said it has passed. All right? Because here's the thing. A lot of times when we're in a good mood and we're excited about something and we're happy and everything else, and somebody asks us to do something, we might be like, well, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. And then when it comes down to it, then you're going, I just don't feel like it today. I'm so tired and I've already done this and I've already done this and I really don't feel like doing it today. Okay, so be reliable. Okay. All right, the other thing is, under reliable, when you say that you are going to make an appointment, make the appointment and keep it. Y'all, do you know how many times I've heard people say, well, you know what? I haven't even heard from my hostess, so I'm just assuming that she's not holding. So I'm just going to call and leave a message for her and say, I assume you're not holding, so I'll be in touch at a later date to be able to reschedule you. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Y'all, listen, I don't care if that hostess never calls you to confirm, to say, yeah, come on over, to say, hey, I have this many people coming. It does not matter. If you made the appointment to be at her house at 6:30 next Friday night and she still has not been in contact with you, you show up at her house next Friday at 6:30 p.m. just as you said you were going to, unless she contacts you and says, forget it, I'm canceling, I'm not able to hold, whatever. Okay? So no matter what, you don't assume she's not holding just because she hasn't contacted you. So here's one trick that I have learned, if you want a little tip on that. Okay? So if you are trying to reach a hostess who has not been getting back to you and you're really not sure whether she's even going to be there or not going to be there, first off, don't let that stop you from showing up. Okay, because if you show up, then that shows that you are reliable. You scheduled a time, you set an appointment, and you showed up when you said you were going to. If she's not there, that looks bad on her. Don't let it look bad on you. Okay, I had a hostess who was not getting back to me. She was not getting back to me. It was a 45-minute drive away from my house. My husband says, are you even sure she's holding? I mean, maybe, like, this is a 45-minute drive. Maybe we just should. I'm like, no. I left her a message and said, hey, I'll be there at such and such a time. Looking forward to seeing you. And she wasn't getting back to me. And I'm like, we're going anyway. So we show up. I knock on her door. David wouldn't even unload the car yet because he's like, I want to make sure this is definitely happening. So we knock on the door and she's in there wiping down her countertops ready to go. She had 10 guests there. We got 4 bookings and we had an over $500 show. Do not ever assume that she is not holding just because she hasn't confirmed. Okay? All right. So if you make the appointment, you make that appointment and you do not cancel it unless it is an absolute emergency or unless she chooses to reschedule. Okay? All right. The next thing under being reliable is be on time. Be on time. All right? So listen, if you tell your hostess you're going to be there at 6:30, you be there at 6:30. If you tell your hostess, hey, like if maybe, let's say you're meeting up with a hostess at a coffee shop and she's supposed to be there at 7, then I highly recommend that you get there at 6:45, that you secure a table and that you have everything all ready to go when she gets there. Do not have her and her guests waiting on you. Okay? They should never, ever, ever be waiting on you unless, of course, it is the home show format. Okay, if it's the home show format, then again, you make sure that you're able to be in front of her door at the time that you say you will be there. Okay, so typically what I tell my hostesses, I'm going to be there at 6:30. All right, we leave in enough time that we can be in front of her house by 6:15. And if it means that I got to drive around the block a couple times, or if it means we got to pull off the side of the road just outside her neighborhood and wait a couple minutes, then that's what we do. But you want to make sure that you're always on time. Okay? All right, number 3. Now remember, we are still under the letter A of awareness. Okay? So number 3 under awareness is be honest. Y'all, just be honest, not only when it comes to fashion advice. Okay, so if somebody's asking you, how do you think this looks or whatever, listen, be honest. You don't think bluntness. Don't think being rude, okay? But think about being honest. If she says, well, what do you think about this particular one? If it doesn't lay right on her, if it doesn't quite look right, whatever, figure out a way that it will lay right on her, or even say, you know what, I do like that one, but have you seen this one over here? I think this one would really bring out your eyes, or whatever. Okay. But again, don't be mean. Okay. But you want to make sure that you are being honest in every single thing you do. So if you make a mistake, you own that mistake. Okay. I'm going to give you a couple examples. All right. If you fail to upload a show in a timely manner, or you fail to upload a return exchange in a timely manner, do not, I repeat, do not sit there and blame Premier, the post office, the shipping company, etc. Do not say, well, I don't know what's going on. They must have got behind in things or whatever. No, you own it and you say, you know what? I wanted to reach out to you and let you know that I had every intention of uploading your show on such and such a day. However, it was not taken care of at that time. I wanted to let you know that I did get it taken care of. And for any inconvenience that this might cause, I'm going to send you a little gift in the mail. Okay? Just be honest. Don't make excuses. Don't, well, I wanted to do it, but then the dog threw up and the kids were doing this and the this was doing that and the this and this and this. Just say, I was supposed to take care of it on this day and I didn't. I took care of it now. I just wanted to let you know there's going to be a delay in just a couple of days, but for your inconvenience, I'm going to send you a little gift. Okay. How much better would you feel about working with somebody who does that instead of somebody who has every excuse in the books as far as why something didn't happen the way they said it would happen? Okay. I want you to think about that. Okay. All right. So the other thing, please do not oversell the product, the golden guarantee, the hostess plan, the marketing plan, etc. Listen, these things are all already amazing. You do not have to oversell them. You tell them exactly as it is, exactly what they could expect. Okay? Don't oversell it. Don't say, well, hey, your jewelry is probably going to be here in 7 days. Just say, our jewelry typically arrives within 10 to 14 business days. And guess what? When you're able to tell her, oh my word, girl, it's showing up like 7 days early, she's just going to be happy. Okay? So under promise, over deliver, not the other way around. Okay? All right. Also, here's one. Now, ladies, this can happen sometimes because when we are in a family, listen, this can happen, okay? Be honest with your premier family. If you are struggling, if you need assistance, if you feel uncomfortable, if you have a problem with something that somebody said or somebody did, talk it out with them. Don't go running to everybody else who's willing to listen, okay? You talk it out with them, with whoever the issue is with, okay? Or again, if you're struggling, go to your upline, go to your sideline, go to whoever and say, you know what? I really need help with this. And I thought I had it all together and I don't. I need some help, okay? Be willing to do that, all right? Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm trying, y'all. Okay. All right. So number 4 under that letter A. And listen, this letter A is the only one that has all these little extras. Okay. So we'll be able to get through the other ones fairly quickly. I promise. Did you see that fly? He just got me. Okay. All right. So number 4 is, do you play well with others? Yay! What a great thing to think about, right? Okay, do you play well with others? When it comes to collaborating with others, are you eager to work as a team or are you overly competitive? Okay, so you want to really make sure that you're looking at that too. You want to ask yourself, are you willing to like go together as a team and do things? So I want to give you a couple of examples as far as when collaboration can kind of come into play. Okay, so such things might be being willing to train with people other than your premier family. Oh my goodness. Okay, that happens, right? All right, so hey, Krista, totally okay. No problem. Thanks for having me, girl. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are being willing to train with other people within Premier who are not directly affiliated with your Premier family. Why not? Okay, why not do that? All right, there might be some other times for collaboration that can come up. When your hostess asks if you can do a joint show with another vendor, how many of y'all cringe when you hear, oh, I wondered if we could do a joint show with my 31 consultant, or if we could do a joint show with my sister who just started doing this company, or whatever. Have y'all ever done that? Have y'all ever cringed? Listen, instead of cringing, instead of being concerned about that, instead of being concerned about whether or not you're going to have to compete for sales or compete for bookings, start thinking about how you might be able to network with that fellow vendor. Okay, think about how you might be able to serve those ladies in that situation. Okay. And keep in mind that if you are the only one who is okay with having a joint show, then that's going to say a whole lot more about your character than for somebody else who is kind of being a little bit of a snob when it comes to working with other direct sellers. Sailors. I almost said sailors. Love it. Okay. All right. Another area where you might have some collaboration that you could possibly get into would be vendor events. Y'all, we have gone to vendor events, and I cannot tell you the number of vendors that I watch at these things, and they are literally like, it's almost like they're kind of watching like, I wonder how much she's selling over there. But like, they will never go over and talk to people. They won't. So like, don't be one of those people. Okay. Be willing to do some collabs with other people. All right. And then it can also be just through supporting or networking with consultants of other direct sales companies. All right. So keep that in mind. Be willing to collaborate with other people. And one of the phrases that my Premier family, my Premier upline uses is together we shine brighter. And y'all, that is so stinking true. So stinking true. So make sure you're playing well with others. Number 5 is have confidence. Have confidence in who you are and what you have to offer, but do not be arrogant. Okay, don't be arrogant about it. Be confident in what you have to offer, but do not be arrogant. And if you're not quite sure how you come across, ask people who are close to you and say, now listen, if I were to say this and I say it this way, how does that come across to you? Okay. Or maybe they've watched you kind of in action to be able to say to them, did that come across as being confident, or did it come across as though I was being arrogant? Okay. So just a nice thing to do. Maybe not so nice for us, because if we're being told we sound arrogant, that might not be a lot of fun for us. Okay. But it's the only way that we're going to be able to make a change. All right. Okay. And then we have number 6, which is moderation of extremes when it comes to our behavior. Okay. Now, when I was first thinking about this, all right, I'm going, okay, because here's the thing. This is a matter of self-reflection. And again, you can even ask loved ones who are willing to be honest with you. Just make sure that you are ready and willing to accept the critique. Okay. But I want you to think about it this way. Think about a full sanguine. So all my sanguines in the house, give me a laughing face with using the emojis. Okay. So think full sanguine. Think somebody who is like sanguine, like they are just like, listen, I care about the fun. I don't care about the details. Let's just have a good time. All right. So my sanguines, give me some laughing faces there. Okay. Think about a sanguine, then attempting to deal with or work with, rather, a choleric. So my cholerics, give me some thumbs up in the emojis. Okay. My cholerics, give me some thumbs up. All right. So I want you to think about this. Think about the total difference between the sanguine and the choleric. Okay. The sanguine just wants to have fun. The choleric is like, let's just get it done. Okay. So think about how the two of them, if they are working in to the extreme of their behaviors, think about how nuts one may drive the other. And here's the thing. Keep in mind, you sanguines, chances are you won't be driven nuts by the choleric because you could care less. You're not even paying attention. Okay, because you're just paying attention to let's just have fun. Let's just have a good time. And that is the awesome thing about sanguines, right? Okay. But the choleric, on the other hand, is like, would you just buckle down and let's get this done? Okay. So I want you to really think about that. When it comes to working well with others, you got to make sure that you're not going to the extreme of your personality or your behavior when it comes to working with other people. Okay. Now listen, if you're working with sanguines and you're a sanguine, you're going to be like right in the mix. Maybe nothing will get done, but y'all will have a blast. Okay. So, but when you're working with other personality types, just understand that if you tend to go to the extreme, and I'm not just talking sanguines, I'm talking any personality. If you go to the extreme of your personality, it might be difficult for you to be able to work well with other people who are of a different personality type. Okay? Just something to think about. All right. Number 7 is courage and humility. All right. Courage and humility. So when you're under pressure or when you're stressed, how do you respond? All right. And where restraint is required, are you able to do that? Are you willing to do the things that you teach your downline to do? Okay. Listen, I'm telling you, nothing makes you more humble than telling your downline, hey, y'all, anytime that you have a low calendar, you should be doing the 40 no challenge and this and that. And then when you find yourself with no shows on the calendar, to realize, oh, shoot, I'm going to have to go do this 40 no challenge, aren't I? Okay. And you should be willing to do that. You should absolutely be willing to do that. So make sure that you are humble in those times and that you are willing to do the same things that you're teaching your downline to do, because why shouldn't you be? Okay. Never stop doing the things that got you to where you are. Okay. All right. Number 8 is respect. Number 8 is respect. And this is so stinking important, because you must show respect to and for others. You have to do that regardless. I don't care what he said, she said, whatever. It does not matter, because y'all, God calls us first and foremost to love one another as he himself has loved us. All right. And I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think for a minute how much God loves us and how much Jesus loved us. Jesus loved us so much to give his life. God loved us so much to give his one and only son for us. Y'all, you cannot respect someone if you're not loving them in that way, and vice versa. If you are not loving them in the way that Christ loved you, you may find respecting them difficult, especially if they are not giving that respect to you. But again, love and respect go hand in hand. And when we are being called to love one another as Christ loved us, that also comes with a great deal of respect that we need to show to and for other people. Okay. All right. Number 9, and this is the last one under the letter A. All right. Number 9 is integrity. Integrity. You must build trust, and trust only comes from building relationships and doing all of the things that we just mentioned. Okay. So integrity is doing all of the things that we just mentioned. It is being reliable. It's being flexible and easy to work with. It is, making sure that you're playing well with others. It's being honest. It's all those things can be wrapped up into integrity. All right. Okay. Now we're going to move back to our little acronym. So that was all under the letter A, y'all, for attitude. All right. So the next ones, I promise you, they're all going to be much quicker. So T, the first T is trust God. Trust God. You need to put forth the effort, okay, and do the work, but you need to trust that God is going to bless your efforts. You need to trust that if he is calling you to do something and you are putting forth the effort, that he is going to allow you to reap a harvest, okay, because that's just how it works. And y'all have heard me say before, you will reap what you sow. But if you don't stick around to watch it grow, the blessings that might have been yours, you will never know, okay? Because it takes time, and it all comes in his time. So trust him, okay? Trust him. The next T is think positive. Think positive. Y'all, we need to stop this stinking thinking. Truly, we do. It can be so easy for us to allow the devil into our head to create fear, to create doubt, to create all these things. And then we want to sit there and go, well, maybe God just doesn't want me in this business. Why? Well, because I'm just so fearful of doing this. I just don't know that I can do this and this and that. Well, guess what? That all comes from the devil. God did not give you a spirit of fear. Plain and simple. He did not give you a spirit of fear. So if you are having fears and you are having doubts, you need to get rid of it. You need to get rid of it. Okay. Yes. Chantel, thank you for that. God never sends you out there without equipping you first. Listen, y'all have heard that quote as well. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. If he has called you to do something, he has already put those skill sets in you, or has at least provided tools available to you to get that skill set. All right. So don't ever think for 1 second that you can't do what God has called you to do. Okay. All right. So when those fears and doubts and disappointments come in, you need to resist. You need to understand that that is of the devil. You need to understand that that is of the enemy, and that is of something. I'm not even calling him someone. Okay. That is something who does not want you to be on the path that God has created for you. So when you give into that, you're allowing him to win. Do not allow him to win. Trust in God and think positive. Okay. All right. I is identify what areas in your business you struggle with. Okay. So really look at your business and ask yourself, what is it that I struggle with the most, or what is it that I struggle with completely, like all over the place? All right. Because it might be several things. All right. Maybe it's lifestyling. Maybe it's booking at shows. Maybe it's creating interest in the business opportunity. Be honest with yourself in the areas that you struggle. Take a hard look at what your attitude was in those scenarios. Okay. I've had some people who will say, okay, so just quick example. I had someone who managed to pull together a show with a Mary Kay consultant. Listen, she met this girl on a Tuesday. This woman says, look, I want to have a jewelry show like this Friday. Like, she met her Tuesday and said, can we pull something together by Friday? She says, well, sure. Yeah. If you can get some people there, we can do it Friday. This woman got 14 people there, 14 people to a party with just 4 days notice. Okay. Anyway, needless to say, this jeweler came to me the next day and was just, I don't know what the issue was and blah, blah, blah. And I said, what do you mean you don't know what the issue was? What happened? I got one order for $19. I don't know so I start asking, well, what do you think you might have been able to do differently? Like, looking back, was there anything that you looked at and thought, well, maybe I could have done this or maybe I could have done that? Nope. I did everything right. Y'all, I would be remiss not to say that this was her very first jewelry show ever as a jeweler. Okay. Y'all do not know how difficult that was for me to go, wait a second. What do you mean you could do nothing different? I leave every show. This was after I had been in the business for just 5 years. And I'm going, I leave every single show being able to look back at things and go, I possibly could have done that differently. You know what? When this person said this, I should have said this. Or when she was talking about how much she loved this piece, but she couldn't get it. Man, why didn't I suggest to her to do a show and get it for free? Like, there are just different things where over time, I would be able to, but she was just, nope, I did everything right. I don't know what their problem was. They just didn't want to buy jewelry, I guess. Listen, you're not going to get a room full of ladies all together in a period of just 4 days who are not there to support that hostess and be willing to look at some jewelry. Okay. And when you're not willing to look at what you've done or what you are struggling with or things like that, and you think you have got it all down, y'all, you may as well just hang your hats up, because if you think you've got it all figured out now, then you're not going to be willing to be a student, which means if you're not willing to be a student, you're also not going to be able to keep up with all the changes that are happening day in and day out in this industry, in the fashion industry, in direct sales, and in Premier. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. T is train with others who excel in the areas that you struggle. Okay, so here's a little tip. If you want to become a 4-diamond designer, you go talk to the 4-diamond designers and you find out how they got there. Okay. If you would like to get better at sharing the business, then you find people who are sponsoring the daylights out of new jewelers and you find out how they're sharing the business opportunity. What are they doing? Who are they talking to? Where are they finding these people to be able to share the opportunity with? Okay, so train with others who excel in the areas that you struggle. Okay, all right. You is understand. This is so, can I just tell y'all, this one is difficult for me. This is something that I struggle with to a degree. You'll understand here in a second. So you is understand that you will not always be everyone's cup of tea. But that is no excuse for you to have a poor attitude. You cannot walk around with the attitude of, I am who I am, and if you don't like it, then whatever. If you have that attitude, people are not going to like you. I'm just saying. Okay, now listen, I'm not saying you change who you are to be able to please this person or that person. Be genuine. I'm not telling you to change who you are, but what I'm saying is if you are not willing to always understand that it's not okay for you to have a bad attitude just because someone might not be able to appreciate the person that you are. That's it. Okay? All right. D, you got that right. Some people just don't like tea, right? All right. D is decide to make a constant effort to be the best version of you that you can be at all times. Now, you'll notice that I said be the best version of you. I didn't say be the best version of me or the best version of Krista or the best version of whoever. Okay? I'm not telling you to be the best version of anybody else. I'm telling you to be the best version of yourself. Okay? So the negativity, the stinking thinking, the excuses, the doubts, the quote unquote lack of motivation. Y'all, for anybody who's been following me for any length of time and you're over on the Buffy's Toolbox group, you know I despise that word motivation and the phrase lack of motivation. These things have no place in your business or in your life. They're of the enemy, again, and he can't have us, for we are children of God. Okay? So when those things start creeping in and you find yourself falling into that trap of dealing with the fears and the doubts and this and the that and the excuses that are more plentiful than any reason that you could ever come up with to work your business, remember that is of the devil. It's of him. And you need to rebuke him and say, listen, I do not have time for you because I'm getting out here and working for God. Okay? That's where we need to be. All right. And E is the final one. And then I'm going to let y'all scooch. E is evaluate your attitude on a regular basis. Okay? Do not let this get out of hand. And when things are not going the way that you had hoped, ask yourself, was my attitude in check? Okay? And if you truly gave it all you had, despite your best efforts, and it still didn't pan out, perhaps your verbiage just needs a minor tweak. Maybe you should be contacting your upline and saying, hey, this is what I'm saying during my booking activity, and I'm not really getting any bookings. Could you help me out? All right. It could be just a matter of changing one word. All right. As an example, one of the things that I learned early on was not to say if you have a show, but rather to say when you have a show. Just changing that one little word can be the difference of getting bookings or not getting bookings. All right. But again, talk with your upline. That's what we're here for. Okay. Don't miss that. Don't miss having that relationship with your upline that you can go to and ask them questions and talk to them. That's why we're here. Okay. Also, if the verbiage is good and your attitude is good, remember that God is also good all the time, and all the time God is good. He will bless your efforts, but it's going to be in his perfect timing. It is not going to be in ours. So again, when you're thinking about that, I want you to understand that. Y'all, I just saw I wish I could remember who posted it, but I just saw a picture earlier today with a quote on it that stated that Coca-Cola only sold 25 bottles of Coca-Cola in their first year of business. In their entire first year, they only sold 25 bottles of soda. Okay? Look at them now. Now they probably sell 25 bottles of soda in a matter of like a nanosecond. Okay? So don't allow a slow start or things like that to make you feel like this isn't where God has you for a reason. God has you here for a reason, but y'all, you have got to give his perfect timing the opportunity to, allow that harvest to come. Okay. Listen, a farmer does not get to just go out, plant his field, the very next day, come back and reap a harvest. It doesn't happen like that. So stop thinking it's going to happen that way in your business. And when it's not happening that quickly, it's not because you're somewhere where God doesn't want you to be. It's you're somewhere where God needs you to have some patience for his perfect timing and to understand that it's not about us. It is not about us. It is about God. It is about building his kingdom. It is about working for him. It is about doing all things to bring glory and honor to him. That's what it's about. So that's where we need to have our focus. And if we have our focus on him and we have our focus on loving on other people and serving other people, and we have the patience to allow his perfect timing to bring those harvests to fruition, listen, it'll work. It'll work. And you have to have the right attitude. You cannot go into anything in this business with a poor attitude, because if you do, your business will suffer. Okay. So y'all, that is what I had for you this evening. I was hoping to keep it at 30 minutes, but it didn't quite go that way. So that's what I have for y'all. I'm not sure. Usually, I know Krista usually posts a thing, a post for questions that you can drop some questions there. If she does that, please feel free to go ahead and put your questions on that post. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me through Facebook message, things like that, if there's anything that I can do for y'all. I thank you again so very much for having me here tonight. I was so honored and blessed that she asked me to be here with y'all. So just thank you so very much. Mwah! Love y'all, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much.